I think it's fair to say that no one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie. And yet, Christian, you've seen the movie, and it appears that the filmmakers cobbled together enough salvageable material to make the movie itself quite nice.
Yeah, it's not a train wreck. I was expecting just that. And listen, it's not a great film. It's got its flaws. And this third act is completely rewritten to be more empowering. Yeah, I think you know the drill. But, one of the reasons why Rachel Zegler sticks around is she's got a beautiful voice and she has some talent. So I think that certainly helps her because she's a PR nightmare. I don't know how anyone would hire her. But again, there is some talent there. It is a familiar story. I think kids will enjoy it. There are a couple of little scary moments, but nothing that much. But given all the behind-the-scenes mayhem, I expected a Frankenstein's monster where scenes would be stitched together. It's not quite that way. So again, not a great film, but I think a lot of these live-action updates are really hard to watch. This one wasn't. But again, they've really done so much stepping on rakes over the last few months with this project where the box office is just not going to recover.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive. But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures. And then the picture of the magical creatures leaked online, and everyone just had an absolute blast laughing at it. So the magical creatures are here in the movie. The CGI dwarfs are here in the movie. It works to a degree, but it's certainly going to be a financial hit for Disney, that's for sure.
That is totally uplifting and the right way to be woke, Link, when you actually cancel the roles for the marginalized population, because just putting them on screen is somehow racist.
So I remember back in 2023 when this was going on and all the little people making videos saying, well, wait, there's so few roles for us in Hollywood. We're being passed over for this. You could have cast seven little
Peter
people.
Dinklage.
Exactly. They're like, Peter Dinklage, you're rich. We're not. We're trying to be extras, or, we're in Johnny Knoxville's Jackass if we're lucky. And so for them, they're like, you're not going to cast us to be inclusive and progressive. But these guys at Disney, they're not that bright. They're not that smart. And we see that because they can't come up with any new IP. Why not write some new movies? You guys sit around, you have billions of dollars. They keep going back and rewriting the classics to be more feminist and inclusive of the female experience. I'm like, every Disney movie is about a woman waiting for a man, okay? Sleeping Beauty, she is comatose until a man comes to kiss her and wake her up. Rapunzel, she's up in a tower, taking biotin, hair vitamins, waiting for a man. This is what these women are
Cinderella.
doing. Is it the best? Yes, Cinderella. Is this the best message to send to young girls? No, but you don't have to rewrite and rework the classics. Come up with something new, you guys.
It's a good idea. It's funny. I went to see My Fair Lady at Lincoln Center several years ago. My kids were young. And, that's, of course, about Eliza Doolittle and Henry Higgins, the professor who tries to make her into an upper crust lady or fool people into thinking she is in any event. And they ended it in the actual film version, and they end it together. Like the two of them develop a romance and she stays with him. And in the Lincoln Theater, New York City version, no, she leaves him, of course, because you can't. He is kind of a prick, but I'm sorry, the story is what it is. Like you say, come up with your own stories. Go ahead, Christian.
Exactly.
Well, that's what they do in the movie. They're so torn. They know there's a romance here. They've got a prince-like character, but he's not a prince. He's like a Robin Hood guy. And they know that there's got to be a kiss. There's got to be certain elements that they can't avoid. Boy, they are uncomfortable with that particular sequence. So it's like they're together, but they're not together. She's got to be the hero. She's got to be front and center. We're going to push him to the side as much as possible. Oh, and by the way, he's pretty important to the story. So we'll drag him back in, then we'll push him back out. It's awkward. It's absolutely, you can tell, a cisgender man, he can't be the savior here. You got to have Rachel Zegler front and center. So it's really torturous at that point. It's one of the weakest parts of the movie.
She's gonna freeze her eggs in the next one and be single.
This is the same. It'll be easy for her because of the snow. This is the same woman who posted on Instagram after the election. I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred, leaning us toward a world I do not want to live in, leaning us toward a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. P.S. There's no daughter. Leaning us toward a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. There's no daughter and there's no daughter's baby. Leaning us toward a world that is fearful. This law should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Then she discusses the deep, deep sickness in this country. There is no help, no counsel in any of them. And she also attacked Twitter and Elon and finished it all with fuck Donald Trump. So it's one of the reasons why she's not like the ideal choice for the lead role in Sweet Snow White, and why many people are still, not to mention all the terrible things she said about, including, well, let me just play the one of the ones that got her in trouble when she ripped on Snow White back in 2022, SOT 38.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Okay.
By the way, I'm insulted because she
Donald
assumed
Trump.
the gender of her future child. I don't think that's right.
Good point.
Well,
good point.
I mean, what also confounds me, I mean, hot take, so don't drag me in the comments, but these super liberal pro-abortion women like Rachel Zegler, they're always single and alone. I'm like, I think you're safe, actually. I think you're fine. You know what I'm saying? So
at least she's pretty. Most of the women saying like, I'm putting on the chastity belt. It's like, you're good. You don't.
You've got purple hair
worry.
and 10 nose rings. You're good.
Yeah.
You know, years ago,
fine.
Drew Barrymore was doing the Charlie's Angels reboot, and she spoke so lovingly of the source material. Listen, I grew up with Charlie's Angels. It was a trashy, schlocky show. It was not fine art. But she was sweet and kind and said, you know, we're going to do the best we can to bring this to a modern age. And now you have Rachel Zegler saying, oh, that 1937 movie, that's just, oh, it's tacky, it's weird, we're going to change all that. I mean, what a difference.
Mm-hmm. And now she's trying to reinvent herself because there's been so much blowback, and you can only imagine the studio calls about this woman behind the scene. Like, oh my God, we're $242 million in, and our lead actress hates our film, our actors, our storyline. There's rumors that she and Gal Gadot don't get along either because one's pro-Palestinian, one is pro-Israel. It's just a total nightmare for the studios. So now she's trying to sell like, oh, I love Snow White. I love everything about the whole story. Here she is more recently trying to change the messaging. This is actually Wednesday, 39A.
Louder, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Snow White!
Hi! This is beautiful. You look lovely.
I love you.
I love me?
So much.
I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And to see this is really emotional for me, so I'm going to try to not do that. I love her, and her superpower is her heart. It's nothing supernatural. It's something that all of us have. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy Snow White. Thank you, guys.
I'm sorry. That was acting. That's what that was.
There was a hook just off screen. They were going to yank her off if she kind of did a free Palestine chant.
I wouldn't even recognize her on the street. So I find it hard to believe these kids are coming up and asking for selfies. This has to be set up. I wouldn't know her from Adam walking down the block.
No, the reason they knew who she was because that took place at Walt Disney World. And undeniably, those children had just exited from the, what's it called? The Cinderella shop where you can get your child a little dress. And they've got trannies in there. They've got a bunch of men with beards wearing princess dresses trying to costume up our children. So they were probably like, oh my God, an actual pretty woman. Yes, closest thing to a Disney princess I'm ever going to find at Disney World. I'm sorry, but I don't really care what happens with this movie. I really hope her career is pretty much over. I'd be thrilled to see that. I can't imagine. I mean, Christian, you tell me. But is she not seen as box office poison now because of all of her antics?
It's kind of a mixed track record. She's still fairly young. Her West Side Story debut was not a hit, and that was a Spielberg movie, so that was kind of a surprise. But if you're a studio, if you're a director, if you're a casting director, you've got to think twice or three times before hiring her. Listen, she's talented, she's attractive, she's got skill, but there are a lot of actresses in Hollywood who bring all that to the table and are not going to absolutely sabotage your work. Today's actors don't know how to promote their own movies. They spend so much time on the red carpet talking to Stephen Colbert, doing all these things. It's all publicity. It seems so easy, and they keep putting their feet in their mouth. I don't understand it.
Well, you saw what she said to Allure magazine when she was promoting Snow White just this week. She kind of ripped on Steven Spielberg, not directly or by name, but clearly it was about him and his team in that movie West Side Story, where she said she claims that the white executives on that movie made her prove her Latina heritage. There's confusion because I don't have a single ounce of Latin in my name. When I was in the running for Maria in West Side Story, they kept calling to ask if I was legit. I remember thinking, do you want me to bring in my abuelita? I will. I'll bring her in the studio if you want to meet her. Zegler expresses some bemusement at, quote, having a bunch of white executives have you prove your identity to them. Now, I don't care what they say, like on camera or to magazines. Behind the scenes, you guys know as well as I do that those executives like Spielberg are looking at that saying, Rachel Zegler can F right off.
Well, I feel like this is what Alec Baldwin should have done when he was vetting Hilaria. Are you actually Latina? Are you actually who you say you are?
I do want to meet your abuelita.
I need a 23andMe, honey. I need some DNA, saliva test. So yeah, no, Rachel Zegler, she needs to be more grateful for the role she had. If I were cast in a Disney movie, I would be saying, I love Disney. I love Snow White. I wouldn't be saying anything negative. She's almost pulling a Rachel Maddow. Remember when Rachel Maddow, like a few weeks ago, she got on air and she's like, this network sucks and the changes they're making. Sweetie, you're being paid $25 million and you're on TV saying your bosses suck. So Rachel Zegler, maybe keep your mouth shut.
Listen, it's the coin of the realm in Hollywood to be a victim. That's just it. So any chance you can portray. Listen, she was plucked out of obscurity by Steven Spielberg. All you say is thank you, Mr. Spielberg, and you keep saying that for the next 50 years because he made her career.